Today we're going to look at arguably the single most versatile ship in Elite Dangerous, the Krait Mark II. Unlike other general-purpose ships, the Krait Mark II excels at almost everything it does. It's fantastic in PvE and PvP combat, deep core mining, and general missions and BGS tasks. And it's even a decent exploration ship. Now let's look at 3 different fully engineered builds with all of them linked in the description below. First, let's look at a deep core mining build. Starting with your hull, lightweight will work fine, but I'd recommend military grade with heavy-duty deep plate, as you'll only lose a few meters per second and a little jump range, yet have over 1000 hull integrity. For power plant, you'll want grade 1 armored, simply so you can add the thermal spread experimental. Your thrusters will want dirty drag drives for maximum maneuverability in the asteroid field. Increased range mass manager frameshift drive with D-rated lightweight life support and sensors will give you 28 light years of range. Finishing out your core, a 7A charge enhanced distributor gives you more distributor than you'll ever need. For your optional internals, we'll start with 2 Class 6 cargo racks for 128 tons of cargo, which will take you around an hour or so to fill. To optimize your collection time, you'll want 2 Class 5 and 1 Class 3 collector limpets, all Class B for the longest range with the lightweight blueprint. You could swap one of the Class 5s for a fighter, but generally that isn't necessary. A Class 3 lightweight prospector rounds out your limpets. If you own prismatic shields, you'll want to go for them. If not, go with standard A-rated. Either way, you'll want reinforced high capacity. A 2A refinery is more than enough for deep core mining, as you won't need the additional bins since you'll only be gathering a single type of ore. Finally, a detailed surface scanner will be necessary to find the hotspots in the rings. For utilities, you'll want a Class A pulse wave analyzer, a lightweight chaff launcher, and 2 shield boosters, both with heavy-duty supercap. Your thermal resistances will be a bit low, so this is best suited for escapes. For your hardpoints, you'll want at least 1 abrasion blaster and a seismic charge launcher. You could add a subsurface displacement missile, but as they aren't profitable in the slightest, I skip them. You also won't need standard mining lasers, as this isn't the ship for laser mining. You'd want something like the Type 9 for that task. You'll then have 3 large hardpoints remaining, giving you a huge amount of flexibility. I run 3 pacifier frag cannons, all with double shot screening shell, as that gives a huge amount of damage to fend off any pirate that would have a go at me. If you don't have pacifiers, you can easily use fixed or gimbaled frags, or just about any weapon of your choice. Now let's have a look at a general purpose combat build, one that is great for BGS tasks, bounty hunting, conflict zones, or just about anything else combat or short range mission related. For our core, we'll start with military grade hull with heavy duty deep plate, as this will give us just over 1000 hull integrity, important if we face an enemy with phasing weapons. A grade 3 overcharged power plant is all that's necessary, with thermal spread reducing some of its heat. Dirty drag drive thrusters, increased range mass manager FSD, charge enhanced superconduit distributor, and lightweight sensors and life support finish out the core. Looking at our optional internals, we'll start with a 6A prismatic with reinforced high cap. If you don't have prismatics, just go A-rated. Class 6 and 5 cell banks, both with rapid charge recycling, as if you do move into PvP, you'll want rapid to avoid feedback cascade rails. A fighter bay is nice for conflict zones, with a Class 4 fuel scoop allowing you to jump around with reasonable scooping rates. A Class 3 Guardian FSD booster adds 8 light years of range, with a Class 3 cargo rack allowing for missions that require small amounts of cargo. An SRV bay allows for planetary missions, some of my favorites, with a docking computer letting you multitask during landings. You could, however, use a detailed surface scanner for finding POIs on planets or an additional hull reinforcement. For utilities, you'll want an ammo capacity heatsink for your cell banks with 3 shield boosters, 2 heavy-duty supercap, and 1 thermal resist thermoblock to round out your resistances. Finally, let's look at our hardpoints. The great thing about the Mark II is the huge amount of loadouts that work well. My favorite is a single fixed overcharged thermal vent beam laser with 4 short-range blaster plasma slug railguns. I know it feels wrong to run a medium on a large hardpoint, but the damage output of 4 short-range blaster rails is nearly as much as 7 standard rails, with plasma slug providing unlimited ammo. The thermal vent beam allows you to dump the additional heat generated by both the rails and cell banks while providing a huge amount of damage on its own. Interestingly, when testing a build with 2 beams and 3 rails, we found the time to drop shields on a test target was more than double using a single beam and 4 rails, due to the additional distributor draw and heat generation. This is one of the best, most powerful builds I've ever used for conflict zones and bounty hunting, and is my go-to ship for those tasks. Finally, let's end with a PvP build where money is no object and maximizing your build is everything. Starting with the BGS build as a base, you'll want to instead run reactive surface composites, still with heavy-duty deep plate. We'll keep the same utilities, but we'll want to make some changes to our optionals. The Mark II is flexible between a hull tank and a bi-weave or shield tank with prismatics, with the later being my preference. We'll want the same 6A reinforced high-capacity prismatic and 2 cell banks, both rapid recycling, to protect yourself from feedback cascade rails as much as possible. We'll then round out our optionals with a 5D heavy-duty and 2D thermal hull reinforcement to balance our resistances from the reactive hull. One of the best aspects of the Krait Mark II is the huge selection of weapons that work well, anything from frag or multi-cannons to plasma accelerators and rails. I run all-efficient plasma accelerators with phasing experimental. Phasing allows for damage through your opponent's shields, meaning ships with anything less than around 1500 hull integrity will likely explode due to hull damage before their shields even drop. When using phasing, you want all weapons to have the experimental. However, you could use a single long-range railgun with feedback cascade to cancel a portion of your target's cell banks, which is especially important when fighting large-class ships. These are in no way the only builds that work well on the Mark II, just some of the best I've flown after many, many hours of testing. If you have a build you enjoy, I hope you'll share that in the comments below. I'll also include an unengineered bounty hunting build and a link to my previous video for an anti-Xeno Thargoid hunting build. This has been Commander Exesius, reminding you to fly dangerously, and thanks for watching.